going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Now you're poking fun at it. So now it's just a big joke? This whole thing's a joke? So it's absolute cringeworthy and they should be ashamed.
Blake Lively just broke down on SNL minutes after Ryan Reynolds torched his own image live on national television. It was catastrophic. Blake had spent months perfecting her tear-streaked victim narrative like an Oscar campaign gone rogue. But Ryan? He blew it all up with one spectacularly humiliating moment.
Did they rewrite the SNL scripts too? Terrible humans.
His meltdown didn't just derail the night, it dismantled her entire PR strategy in real time. And now, after months of carefully staged interviews and soft focus magazine covers, Blake is the one left scrambling. If you're wondering what exactly went so wrong, buckle up, because this was a slow-motion train wreck from the very beginning.
And Reynolds and Blake Lively make their first public appearance at Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary. They made a joke about it all.
Blake and Ryan arrived at the SNL 50th anniversary special all smiles, posing for cameras like they hadn't just been sued for $400 million by Justin Baldoni. It was their first joint appearance since the lawsuit broke headlines, and they acted like it was a casual date night. Blake wore a silver floral gown, radiating practiced poise. Ryan stuck to a black tux. But their body language? It told a much messier story.
Blake and Ryan to your slight right, both of you, thanks.
Blake barely looked at the stage, her eyes were locked on Ryan, already bracing for whatever disaster might come out of his mouth. He always says the wrong thing. The show kicked off, the jokes started flying, and then, the hosts turned to Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
A simple, harmless question. That's all they asked. He could have smiled, played it safe, or just nodded along. But Ryan can't help himself. The second Amy Poehler and Tina Fey tossed him the softball, he smirked, and dropped a line so tone-deaf, you could practically hear Blake's spine stiffen.
Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
And just like that, the energy in the room shifted. The crowd laughed, but it wasn't real laughter. It was the kind of awkward chuckle people give when they witness a car crash they can't stop. Because everyone in that studio, everyone knew exactly what he was referring to. The lawsuit. The drama. The months of tabloid chaos that had been dragging Blake and Ryan's names through the mud.
I love the acting. She's really, what? Have you heard something? Have you heard something? Even Steven Spielberg's kind of like, okay, what? Now, some of you, definitely people laughed at it. It got some laughs.
And the one person who wasn't laughing? Blake Lively. Her face said it all. The second those words left Ryan's mouth, she snapped toward him, eyes sharp, jaw clenched, frozen. It wasn't subtle. It was the kind of look that screamed, "Are you seriously doing this right now?" Because if there was one thing Blake had been desperately trying to avoid, it was their lawsuit becoming SNL punchline material.
Some laughs, a little uncomfortable from Anna Taylor, and then Kevin Costner just didn't react at all.
But Ryan? He didn't care. This is classic Reynolds, turning real-life disaster into a comedy sketch. When the lawsuit first broke in December 2024, did he handle it with grace or maturity? Absolutely not. Did he stand by Blake in any meaningful way? Also no. Instead, he mocked Justin Baldoni on the big screen, right there in Deadpool.
Ryan used his Nice Pool character in Deadpool and Wolverine to mock Justin Baldoni.
He introduced a new character, Nice Pool, a thinly veiled parody of Baldoni. Same soft-spoken charm, same over-the-top feminist messaging, same hollow male ally vibes. The entire joke was that this guy preached about toxic masculinity while being treated like a clueless buffoon. And just in case there was any doubt, Ryan threw in a jab about pregnancy, a topic Baldoni is famously outspoken about.
There's no question that, yes, Ryan Reynolds based his Deadpool Wolverine character, Nice Pool, with the man bun, on Justin Baldoni.
Baldoni's team caught it instantly. Everyone did. This wasn't some cheeky Easter egg, it was a public, deliberate mockery. And now, months later, Ryan was doing it again. Only this time, it wasn't a movie. It was live. On national television. With Blake sitting right there, trapped in the fallout.
Dude, This is so petty. Because it's like, if he really did all the things he said was to your wife, this just feels too jokey.
The moment Ryan made that joke, the entire room tensed. Even the SNL hosts faltered, unsure whether to laugh or pretend it hadn't happened. Because while Ryan was out here cracking wise, everyone in that room knew the lawsuit wasn't just gossip. It was real. It was ugly. And it was still unfolding.
Deadpool Wolverine? You used Deadpool Wolverine to like mock this guy in the film that your wife disagreed with and didn't get along with? It's so hard to process.
But instead of backing off, Ryan doubled down. And what did he pivot to? A Conehead's joke. Out of nowhere. He changed the subject like nothing happened, reaching for old school SNL nostalgia to cover the mess he just made.
Yeah, okay. But my question is that, you know that the materials that they made the cone heads with, are those edible?
Edible? No. And based on them being made in 1975, I'd assume that they're highly toxic.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler played along, but the energy was off. Tina quipped, no, and based on them being made in 1975, I'd assume they're highly toxic. Ryan, pushing the bit, replied, oh, okay, so if someone hypothetically took a couple of nibbles backstage, should they go to the hospital? Amy didn't even blink, yes. They should go to the hospital immediately.
So if somebody, hypothetically took a couple of nibbles backstage and, got excited, should they go to the hospital or should they?
Yes, they should go to the hospital right away.
Good.
Good luck.
Great.
Okay, next question.
It wasn't funny. The only thing that was funny was the fact that he, made a
And just like that, the moment passed. The lawsuit? Buried. The tension? Pushed aside. The audience laughed, but not because the joke was actually funny. They laughed because they didn't know what else to do. It was the kind of laughter that fills a room when everyone's too uncomfortable to admit what just happened.
kind of had to being there, which makes me realize and think this was all orchestrated and planned. This was his WME and people getting in and giving Lauren Michaels and Silent Live sort of the opportunity to get them there first, to sort of address it.
And poor Blake Lively, America's sweetheart, Hollywood's golden girl, the picture-perfect wife and mother, watched it all collapse in real time. No explosive exposé. No scandalous leak. Just one careless sentence, said with a smirk, broadcast to millions. That's all it took. One moment of Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, and the internet decided it had seen enough.
He's never hosted. He appeared once as a guest star, but the fact that they're there to me on this show of all shows felt very forced.
It had already been a rough year. It Ends With Us was supposed to be the reset button, Blake's triumphant return, a powerful female-led film to remind the world why she mattered. But the film was drowning in backlash before it even premiered. And then came the press junket. A chance to course correct. Instead, it delivered the final blow.
And Kirsty just wanted to ask Blake Lively a question about, first and foremost, Blake Lively was pregnant while she was filming this. So she opens up with just like a nice compliment about her cute little body.
Enter Kirsty Flaw. Veteran journalist. Respected, sharp, and completely unaware she was about to become the face of Blake's worst PR meltdown. Sitting across from her in a Manhattan hotel room, Kirsty smiled warmly and said what should've been a supportive, harmless line. First of all, congrats on your little bump. Friendly. Normal. Basic Hollywood small talk.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
But Blake's response? Instant and ice cold. The smile vanished. Her posture went rigid. And with a frozen stare, she shot back, congrats on yours. The room froze. Kirsty blinked, stunned. Because the truth hit hard, she wasn't pregnant. She never had been. In fact, she'd spoken publicly about her battle with infertility.
Reporter did not have a baby bump. She wasn't pregnant. And apparently it had a history of difficulty in getting pregnant, which is why generally you just stay far away for something like that.
You know, but she's already kind of like, oh, why are you asking me about my bump? Like, how dare you do that? As if this woman meant any harm in it. Just like she looks cute. She has a bump. But, you know, this was in 2016. I would say that modern feminism peaked in 2016. Like, women were just doing things.
Within minutes, the clip exploded. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Every platform lit up with the same reaction. This wasn't sass. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was cruelty. Blake Lively, once admired, envied, memed as the perfect woman, had just humiliated another woman on camera, knowing full well what she was doing. The internet didn't forgive. It documented.
That's your brain on modern feminism. You get asked the question, you're immediately offended because, of course, they would never ask this to a man. The woman's like, yeah, no, I would ask that to a guy because, like, yeah, that makes sense. Here's your brain when you don't suffer from that and you're just a guy and you just think logically and try to, I guess, come up with the answer.
Kirsty didn't stay silent. On July 15th, 2024, she issued a public statement confirming what the internet already suspected. This wasn't a harmless slip-up. It was humiliation. She detailed her painful, private struggle with infertility and how Blake's comment felt like a calculated slap in the face. A punch disguised as a punchline.
Ironically, she's trying her hardest in that interview not to be a woman when she's asked that question, like, you can't ask me about pregnancy, you can't ask me about outfits.
And for the record, she shut down every conspiracy in one paragraph. No, she wasn't tied to Justin Baldoni. No, she wasn't part of some elaborate smear campaign. She wasn't a plant or a pawn. She was just a journalist doing her job, and Blake Lively went out of her way to humiliate her on camera, in front of the world.
So this woman came out and said, yeah, I almost literally quit my job because, by the way, that wasn't the only time that she had interviewed her. She interviewed her for Also a Simple Favor. She was similarly rude. And I think that in her modern feminist mind, she thinks that when she's being rude, she's taking a stance for women, and she's not.
That's when everything snapped. The public didn't just turn on Blake, they dropped her. This wasn't about "it ends with us" anymore. This wasn't about Baldoni. This was about who Blake really was when the cameras weren't rolling. The debate wasn't who's telling the truth anymore. It was, has Blake always been this awful?